You recognize the man with me today, head coach, Syndicate MMA, Coach John Wood. Coach, how we doing?
Good, man. Good. Just getting up and at it, having some coffee, getting ready to start the day, and get the living shit beat out of me all day.
Well, I'm actually I'm training one of my regional guys right now for a fight, so I get a little bit of your world in that sense. It's not fun. It is fun, but it's not fun. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta definitely. I always try to tell everybody if you're getting into MMA as a coach or getting into MMA for anything, you better love it because, and you better love it wholeheartedly because it doesn't love you back. It really doesn't, and everything that you think is going to be easier, especially coaching. I had the concept of, oh man, coaching is going to be so much easier than fighting. It's so much harder. It's so much harder. It's so much harder on the body. It's so much harder on everything. And then, there's like right now we have 15, 20 people in camp for in the next 8 weeks. We have about 20 fights on the board and big ones, and like right now I have Merab and Khalil in camp together. It seems like they've been synced up. So their last three fights have been in camp with them. And those are my two hardest camps where it's very, very physical. So it's fun stuff. But it's, I always tell people there's nothing I could even imagine doing different. I really couldn't. I love it. I love coaching. I love, the game. I love the sport. I love every bit about it. I don't love the fact that every single thing in my body hurts and sleeping is no longer a thing. And it's I wouldn't even know what to do if I woke up and I wasn't in pain anymore, but that's just part of it.
And October 4th, man, big night, like you said. Khalil and Merab, not only on the same card, but back to back. So, in
Yeah.
that regard, is that stressful having to go, corner Khalil, run back to the locker room, run back out, corner Merab, or is that the UFC like hone that in a little bit?
No, they didn't do me any favors. It's definitely stressful, but here's the thing: when it comes to that kind of stuff, and it comes to fight night, I've always had a very good ability just to kind of lock in. It doesn't matter what's happening, good, bad, and different. It's fight night, and it's one thing I really don't think about too much leading up to it. So I'm not like, oh my God, and what are you gonna do? It's done.
Yeah.
The situation is what it is. The UFC ain't changing the fight card for me. They don't care about my feelings. So it's one of those things where excuse me, you just gotta deal with it. And it'll be fun. I always look at those kind of things of like just another challenge, another little hurdle in the night where nights like that, they could be the best nights in the world. They could be the worst nights in the world, and I'm expecting this one to be one of the better nights. But it is, presents a interesting dilemma. I'll just have another jersey stand by. I'll jet out of the cage after Khalil wins, and I'll run back, switch it, walk out, do it again. It's not the worst thing. You just have to kind of plan the warm up a little bit. Strategy a little bit differently, but thankfully with these guys, I'll be there, and Khalil being first, I'm heavily involved in his, warm up as far as like being a body and holding
Mhm.
pads, and Marab does a warm up where he basically just fights Aljo for 5 rounds, so it makes it a little bit easier. So that part of it is a little less stressful.
And let's start with these fights. I want to start with Merab, the co-main event, UFC 320, October 4th, for those who are watching. Incredible fight. A lot of people are excited for Sandhagen just because, one, new name,
Yep.
two, Cory's been putting the skits out, making this entertaining, and then three, like, styles make fights, and this one's got that written all over it. So how are you looking at this one from a coaching perspective?
Big fan of Sandhagen. I think he's got a great style. Like it's very entertaining. He's
Mhm.
out there to fight. He's very well rounded. He's a guy that legitimately earned the title shot. Like he's fought everybody. He's been hanging around there for a long time. And well, I shouldn't say he's just he's the last guy standing. He's the last best guy standing, and it makes sense. And he's the best. He's the top of his game. So it's a fun one to game plan for. I think it's going to be a hell of a fight. And I think it's going to be a typical Marab fight where the first couple rounds will be very interesting and very, high paced and fun. And then I truly think that Marab is going to do what Marab does, and he's going to do it in a bigger, better fashion than he ever has. Right now, that man is on a tear in the gym. I can't even express or explain how much better he is and how much better he's getting in this camp is just really it's almost jaw dropping. Like there's people that are just everybody in the gym is buzzing about him. Everybody in the gym is going like, holy shit, where did this come from? Where did this version of this guy come from? And it really is just out Merab believing in himself in a different fashion now. He's not just this grinder. He's not just this guy who's going to take you down 1,000 times. He's now looking to hurt you. He's now looking to finish you. He's now looking to create, just entertaining, devastating fights. And I think that you're going to see a whole different Merab in this fight that is going to be just brutal and even funner to watch.
A lot of people want the or wanted or someday want to see Sandhagen and O'Malley. So I'm curious from like your perspective, preparing Merab for now Sandhagen having fought O'Malley twice. How similar is that? Are these guys like in your mind very similar, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I've said this before. I feel like we've had this fight before. He's got a little more stylistically. Sandhagen does some things a little differently, but they're very similar in how they're both long, lanky, rangy fighters. I think that the power goes to O'Malley in that one. I think the speed and like kind of off timing and rhythm changes goes to Sandhagen in this one. But I feel like we've been down this road before, so there's not a whole lot of like, oh my God, what do we do? How do we get around this? We're kind of sticking to the plan, and a lot of the what we do at Syndicate and what I do is really focusing on what Merab needs to do. I'm not overly overwhelmed with like, oh my God, Sandhagen's going to do this and this and this and this. When you have somebody like Merab, it really is just more or less telling, hey, go do this and we're going to be just fine. And Merab is one of those guys that it doesn't matter really what the other guy's going to do. Merab's going to find a way to go do that. And so that's what we kind of do is like just find there's some things that obviously we have to look for. He's got tricky footwork and he tries to bait you into some things and jump knees and the kicks and all this stuff that that you see every time he fights. We're ready for all that. And said we really have had one of the best camps ever for the fact that like we've got some world champion kickboxers striking dynamic dudes in the gym right now. Dynamic dudes that are like I mean, just doing Sandhagen, I think better than Sandhagen, and it just looks awesome. Everything has lined up for this one, almost too good. Where we're healthy and happy. I need Merab to like bust his head open this week or something and do something nutty to make sure that we're in line as per usual. But yeah, I just feel it feels very familiar. But my job is always to make sure that it doesn't feel too familiar. To make sure that hunger, that drive, that like we never get comfortable. And that's something with Merab you don't have to worry about. Merab is just more driven than any person I've ever met in my entire life, any fighter. And so, he's Sandhagen's coming to take away everything that Merab has earned, and so we keep that in mind and just keep that fire lit and train. He's training harder than he's ever trained. And the fact that he's healthy, it's allowing even more things to happen. The fact that he's more like I said, he's just bought into the system. He's bought into that he's fully that he can be a finisher. It's crazy, man. It like I said, this camp's been amazing. So I think we're prepared for the best Sandhagen to come into that cage, and whatever happens, Rob's gonna be ready.
And obviously a tough Sandhagen fight first, but you said it yourself. This is kind of like the last top guy, so to speak. So in terms of what could potentially be next, do you have any thought on that? And like the reason I ask is I've seen some people, including one of our guys, Jaden Cable, who really wants a Pantoja Merab super fight. Is that possibly in the stars at all? I just want to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, of course, everything's possible. I would like to see Merab break all of the records. I like him to just go on a legendary run that can never be touched. I think that he's capable of doing that also. I would like to see him, we're not moving up isn't a case. If Pantoja wants to move up to fight him, I don't think there's anybody that would stop that from happening.
Yeah.
I don't think the UFC The problem with 125 is, he's a dominant champion. They just, the 125 division just isn't being built out. So, they're having struggling, times to find somebody to fight Pantoja. So it makes sense on the sense for him. And for us, you know, we're kind of doing the victory lap now, and going back and gonna fight everybody again. But there's always so many young, new up and comers. I mean, look at the cat that just, he leapfrogged. What was his name?
Martinez, yeah,
Who
over Rob Font.
leapfrogged this one, and now he's up in the top 10. The one for 125, was it Josh Van? Joshua
Josh
Van?
Van, yeah, number
I
one
mean, took the
contender.
opportunity. So you never know. There's always new guys stepping in, coming up. So I think Merab will take whatever's thrown at him. I'll tell you this: I don't want him to go up right now.
Right.
I don't want him to go down. That would be impossible. I want him to, like I said, clear out the division, clear it out twice, break all the records, and then get to a point where it is only super fights left, and maybe he does go up. Maybe, but at any point in time, if Pantoja decides to go up to 135, I'm sure that's the fight we're having. So that could happen at any moment. I don't know that, giving up the belt to go up and fight somebody like Merab, it would be the smartest thing for me if I was, if it was my fighter. But just, super fights are super fights. If everybody wants to see it, Merab is absolutely down. I'd love to see that fight. It'd be great. But again, we're focused on just setting some records that can't be broken right now.
And before Merab gets to work, like I said, Khalil Rountree Jr., Jiri Prochazka, that's an absolute banger.
Oh, yeah.
Samurai aura all over this fight.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. So how do you feel about this one, man? Stylistically and just in general, Khalil versus Jiri.
I would be willing to bet my right arm that this doesn't go 3 rounds. I think it's going to be a very controlled, maybe not even controlled. It's a very chaotic fight. It's going to be a very crazy, violent, bloody. Somebody's going out in that fight. I think I know who that somebody is, but it's a fight. You never know. But it's a hell of a fight, man. Jiri is one of those cats. He's so awkward, so different, so just out there. It's interesting on so many different levels. But again, cliched. This is the best Khalil has ever looked in the 13, 14 years that I've been with him. He's putting in work that I've never seen him put in. He's focusing on, on all aspects of the game. He's healthy. The last fight with Jamal, he went into that fight with a torn knee, and like I said, we didn't even spar for 4 weeks. So he did pretty damn good in that position for the fact that, like, training was pretty much, abysmal at that point in time. I think that there's a lot of openings and craziness that Jiri brings that are going to play right into what Khalil's best at. One hell of a fight, though, and it's a fight that I would love to sit back and just watch,
Yeah,
as a
right.
fan for sure. But we'll be working that night. But it's I expect fireworks in that fight. I expect that Khalil will come out on top. I think it will be a violent, violent fight. I don't see any other way. Those two guys are both guys that are just willing to sacrifice whatever in that cage. And I think this puts us right back in the title mix.
Is this like Jiri? Obviously, his style's pretty crazy, unpredictable, crafty to say the least. Like, is that hard to prepare for? And like, just talking to Khalil, is he excited for this? Like, where's he at with all this?
Yeah, no. Again, I know he's excited. I know he knows the magnitude of it because, like I said, I've never seen him step up and do the things and take it as serious. Not that he doesn't take it serious, but like
Sure.
I said, all aspects he's focusing on. He's open to new things. He's learning. He's gotten so much better in this camp. More explosive, faster, hitting harder. We're tough time with training partners. Keeping him in there with him. It's a violent. He's a violent man. He's a violent man when he gets in there, but just mentally focused. So I know a fight like this has really motivated him. He knows what's on the line. He knows that, if we get this, it's I would say all but a lock to get another title shot, especially if it
The
ends
main
like,
event that night too.
yeah, if it ends like I think it is going to end. I think that puts us right back in there. So, those things in this sport are hard to come by. So you have to seize the moment. This is his moment. This is his moment to get back and to prove that he is the best in the world. So excuse me, he's excited, motivated, and it is a crazy fight. Like, these are the things as a coach that I love to be able to like game plan for somebody. I mean, look, I've got Sandhagen and Jiri, some of the most crazy footwork, angle changes, stance switches going on both at the same time. So a lot of both camps kind of flow into each other of what's going on and what we're doing to shut those things down. But you can't ask as a coach. These are the things that you dream about, coming up to be able to game plan and fight the best in the world, to coach your fighter against the best in the world. It's amazing. So guys like Jiri, that's just stylistically, you know, it's so hard to like. I don't even think he knows what he's doing sometimes, so it's hard to know for you to know what he's going to do. But I think we got the right game plans in play, and I think we have the right tools to make sure that we get the job done.
We hit about 15 minutes. You got like 5 more? Just making sure.
Yeah, no problem. No problem. I'm not in a hurry.
Just make sure. Appreciate you, Coach. Then, alas, too, like I said, main event that night is Ankalaev, was trying to say a different name there, and Pereira, the rematch.
Yep.
How do you think that one's going down?
So I don't know that Pereira took it that serious for the first one. I'm not sure. I wasn't involved in the camp. I don't know.
Seems to be consensus.
But I'll tell you this. I travel a lot, and I'm at almost every event all over the world, not just UFC, but small shows, big shows, little shows, everything. And I swear to you, when he was in that camp, I saw that dude at every one of those shows. Like, he was at Karate Combat. He's in Australia. He's here. He's there. He's that. And so for me, I was just like, man, like, how are you preparing for a fight, of that magnitude? Like, while you're away for a week, while you're away, where you're this, I would see him training in the training rooms, and it's just, I just don't know that you can put a proper camp in. I could be wrong. I don't know. Maybe that's what works for him. And maybe that wasn't the case. Maybe I was only seeing him for a day or two. Who knows? But it just seemed like he was everywhere during that camp. And I feel like that maybe there was some T's and I's that weren't dotted and crossed. And I think that obviously he probably learned from that and is going to come back and make sure that all that stuff is, all those bases is covered for this one, if that was the case. So I think you're going to see a better Pereira. I think that in that fight he fought, Ankalaev's game plan to defend those takedowns and forgot to fight his fight.
Sure.
Where I think that if you have a Pereira that goes out there and feels confident and is just throwing and looking to hurt you and looking to knock you out, there's a good chance that happens. I mean, the man barely threw any weapons and threw any offense at him. And so I think that, like, if he goes out there and fights his fight, there's always a good chance that guy has what we call the proverbial death touch. Like, if he hits you, you're going down. So I think he just needs to go out there and let it go a little bit more. And, when you have that kind of power, it only takes one. So you got to throw a little more caution to the wind and see what you can do. That being said, I think Ankalaev might have the kryptonite to stop all that stuff. And I think that, you've seen he can hold him up against the cage. He can force him. He's a big man. He's probably a bigger man, stronger man. He's got a better ground game, from what we've seen. So I think that you potentially, it's either Pereira knocking him out or Ankalaev holding him on the fence or holding him down for another 5 rounds. So it could go either way. I'm not sure what we see, but I would be leaning more towards, from what we saw, Ankalaev being able to do the same thing again.
UFC likes trilogies too, so that could also play in. Who knows? But
yeah, like I said,
banging rematch.
It only takes one. If Pereira touches you, I don't know that this matchup. You'd have to have some fireworks in this fight to get a trilogy, but
yeah.
I don't know how many people are really stoked about it, but hopefully, like I said, Pereira comes out and fights his fight and is in shape and is ready to go for it, because that man's a scary, scary man.
The last topic I want to get to at the end is some fan questions about Merab. But before that, I have 2 questions about the Ultimate Fighter 33. Team Daniil Cormier. Good to see a familiar face in the corner every week on TV. So obviously, 1, how was that experience? And then 2, to start with that, I don't want to overload you. So how was Tough 33?
Sure. That was great, man. I've worked on the show. It's kind of ironic that, I coached for John Jones's team and in season 17
Yeah.
against Shale. So it was kind of weird to come back and
I didn't
do
even
it
put that
for
together.
yeah, to do it for Cormier against Shale again, the same crew. So it was really weird, but it was super cool, to be able to be part of those. I've coached Ultimate Fighter for 3 or 4 seasons on, I was lucky enough to come in and do Amanda's season, but DC, man, he's awesome, dude. I love that guy. It was an honor to come in and be able to work with those guys and get to see some talented kids. And obviously, anytime you're on the show, made a real good rapport with Daniil and had
Hmm.
Alibi and Daniil out for camp, so that was awesome. But the show experience is always it's always just so different. It's a cool, unique experience. It's a bonding experience. You get to meet new fighters and coaches and people, and and having DC as your coach is always a fun, entertaining time. The
He's
guy's
a loud
one
guy.
got a wealth of knowledge and knows everything, but man, he's fun to be around. So it was a great time. Great time.
Does he ever pop into Syndicate, DC?
All the time, yeah. So
Yeah.
usually whenever he has wrestling meets and his crew comes in, he comes in and he brings all his wrestlers in. I let him have the mat space and he does all the stuff there. And we've formed a really good relationship over the last few years. Like Fight Island, we kind of we met and I was working with him, holding some pads for him and doing some stuff back then, and we just hit it off. And he's been nothing but an awesome dude to me. And so yeah, it's been a real cool relationship.
And you mentioned Daniil was in there. He just obviously made the best of his debut this past weekend. So is he like, what's his deal? Is he popping in? Is he staying with Syndicate?
Yeah, no, he's staying. So he's actually he's moving. He's relocating full time out to Syndicate. He'll be back in a week or two, and he's got a couple really good guys with him that he's brought out, and so it's kind of a really cool package deal. Not only got him, but got some really great fighters who you saw him announce on, Dimitri
Yeah,
on,
Dimitri.
on
Yeah.
the thing. He's a man. Those guys are all just characters. They're all just a bunch of young crazy kids that are just willing to die in a cage and don't care. So Daniil is going to do something very special, I think, in the UFC. He's one of those rare breeds where this was obviously my first camp with him. So you never know what you're going to get, but he's a workhorse, almost does too much. So trying to teach him what to do and what not to do is going to be the thing. But he has there is just absolutely no fear. Like he has the utmost belief before he gets in that cage, and he just wants to do violent things. There's a lot of guys that talk the talk and say, hey, I'm gonna kill, I'm gonna do to the death, blah, 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 and then they go out there and fight like dog shit. This is a guy who goes out there and literally will, it's kill or be killed. He's going to lay it out there, and like his mental part, it's really really cool to see. Like he's going to be a fun guy that I think you're going to see the UFC use a lot. He loves to fight, he loves to train, he's all about it. So I think you're looking at a future star in the making. And but yeah, he's relocating, and it's a very very welcome addition to the room.
I'm interviewing him on Friday, so I'll make sure to get
Nice.
the his side of the scoop. But I saw people calling him the Ukrainian Yuri Prochazka, so interesting.
Kind of
And
looks like. I mean, the ponytail and the beard. The styles, maybe not so much, but I could see it. I could see it.
violent, but yeah,
Yes.
I don't know about
Yes.
that.
Yeah.
And Coach, before I get you out of here, I got 3. We'll call them rapid fire Merab questions. All right, these are
No
from the
problem.
fans. Yes or no? Give me a little explanation, whatever works. So
Sure.
to start, Merab said he wants to fight till he's 50 years old. Yes or no?
Yes, I think he can do it. Like I just don't see. I don't see him stopping. I don't see anything that would stop the man. Like he's just such a different dude. I could see it actually happening.
Ray Longo on the On Paper podcast with Anthony Smith said Merab's biggest distraction is the ladies. True or false?
That's true.
This a
I don't
bad
think it's a,
problem or
I don't think it's a distraction. I don't think it's a distraction. He locks in. He's a very professional when it needs to be. I don't think it's a distraction at all. I just think it's a really fun hobby.
I imagine so. Lastly, rapid fire. A Georgian machine at the White House, yes or no?
Oof. Yes.
That'd be a banger, man.
I
I don't
think
know who
so.
it'd be against, but just I'm
I,
excited for
I,
that card.
I, I think so. I think that Merab is probably become one of the bigger stars in the UFC right now and fan favorite. Why wouldn't you? You know, like if you're trying to, obviously if you're going to do something special like the White House, you want to have a banger of a card. You want to have something that's huge, and that's probably where you might start to see the whole Pantoja Merab talk come in.
Interesting. Well, hey, lot to look forward to. You got, like you said, 20 plus fights on the books. So, Coach, thank you for going overtime with me. Appreciate you. Before I get you out of here, crazy week in America, across the world, some horrible stuff. So, any message for the good people to get this thing on a better course?
Man, if everybody, like, the world just needs to get its head out of its ass and just realize, like, we can all go back to, not everybody has to agree. Not everybody needs to see eye to eye with each other. Not everybody needs to believe in what everybody else believes in. Do you, and however you want to do you, but leave other people out of it. I don't it, like all this shit. It's just stupid. It's so, what just happened was heartbreaking, and I was sick over it for a couple days of just feeling just terrible. Man has a family and kids, and there's just nothing where, like, there's nothing in the world that's worth that kind of bullshit. Everybody can agree to disagree. I don't know where we had this shift of, oh, we all have to agree, or now it's I'm gonna kill
I'm
you.
going to
Like,
shoot you.
stop. Like, yeah, it's insane, man. It's just insane. Like, live your life however you want to live and don't affect other people. Like, that's very possible. That's happened for the last couple thousand years. Not everybody's got along, and no one is going to. You're gonna have your beliefs, and that's okay. But just let's all get it together, people. Like, this is we don't got a lot of life to live. Let's not. I'd like to see everybody not spending it trying to attack each other and create all this chaos.
Leave the fighting in the freaking cage. You know what I
It,
mean?
let us do it for you.
Seriously. So, hey, beautiful that you said that, though. Appreciate it. Rest in peace, Charlie Kirk. And,
Yes.
Coach, thank you for your time. Best of luck, best of skill. Hope you guys kick some ass. All right.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.